it's Leah Hielsberg here with Christiane Witt and Cerice Berndsen, and we are the hosts of the Soul Soothing Podcast, where we explore the calm, intelligent side of ambition, helping women business owners settle their minds, simplify their lives, systematize their business, and scale their income with integrity.
This episode is brought to you by Soul Soothing Co., where we help women founders build AI-enhanced systems and self-managing teams that restore spaciousness, flow, and creative freedom. If you are tired of being a woman entrepreneur who has built a business that works, but it feels like that business is running you, visit us at soulsoothingco.com to book a quick call with us, or you can email us at hello@soulsoothingco.com.
And we are joined today by Chad from Rise 25, who has done thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs and CEOs, and we have flipped the script, and he is going to be interviewing us.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to kind of diving into what you guys do. Why don't we get started maybe with a little bit of an introduction for each of you, since this is the first episode. Leah, why don't you start off by just kind of telling us who you are and what your role is with the team?
Sure. So, Leah Hielsberg, I am the Chief Implementation Officer at Soul Soothing Co. So, my bread and butter is everything from automation, systems, implementing new projects, project management. I'm very type A, so project management is like my jam. And I love organization. So, I help teach women entrepreneurs how to do everything from project management to managing their tech stack to working within systems to automate their parts of their business to make their lives easier. And I just love seeing women get freed up from these redundant tasks that can so easily be handed off to automation.
Very nice. How about you, Christiana?
So I am the original founder and really come from the mental and spiritual and emotional place of entrepreneurship. So it's that iceberg underneath the surface that nobody actually really likes to look at. And I work with our clients on truly on soul soothing, on regulating the nervous system, finding peace, settling their mind, and actually really trying to figure out that things can be enough.
I would imagine that that's quite a journey for a lot of entrepreneurs. How about you, Cerice?
Yeah, so I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Soul Soothing Co. And my specialty is taking the complex and simplifying and systematizing it. I like to joke that I take the most boring and seemingly painful side of business, which is building out processes and systems, and make it sexy so that it gives you back that breathing room to actually delegate and think about the ways that you can either reconnect with your soul or offset some of that workload to your team, to automation. So I'm kind of right in the middle of all of those things.
So, it sounds like a lot of the services you guys provide are very valuable, but they're maybe not the first things that a lot of entrepreneurs think about. But once they receive what you provide, is incredibly valuable. I know you teach women to kind of calm their minds, streamline their businesses, and use AI to work smarter, with the goal of creating maybe a 20-hour work week. Is that right, Christiana?
That's the hope. That's the idea. Um, yeah. When we interview women and we work with a lot of them, the idea of spaciousness and ease and the idea of is there another way to build a business that's not built on hustle? That's really what goes through a lot of entrepreneurs' minds. But the messaging that we see out there on social media have to be everywhere, do this, do that. Yeah, it's almost like a revolutionary act to actually think that one can build a business with ease.
Leo, what kind of inspired that vision?
I think we kind of inspired it for ourselves. We we together, the three of us, actually met through an agency, and it was a little bit of that typical agency hustle. And so we were, it was get as many clients as we can, do whatever it takes, work a million hours a week, like that. that bro marketing vibes that we just weren't, it wasn't fitting with the what the three of us kind of valued as far as how to help people. And so then when we joined together, it was kind of just the foundation of how we started. That like that was the ground rules. Like we were building a business that worked for the three of us, for our lives, for what we enjoy doing. Like we don't want to do, we call it our Monday morning test. I don't want to show up on Sunday night and be like, ugh, I don't want to go to work tomorrow morning. Like we want to feel excited and have our team feel excited and look forward to Monday mornings. And we have Monday morning team meetings, which is really great that we get to check in with everybody on how they're feeling. And it just is so nice to have built this from the beginning and to know from the beginning. But so many women entrepreneurs don't start with that because they think that it has to be this hustle culture. If I'm an entrepreneur, I'm working, 60, 80 hours a week. Why not just working a 9 to 5 then? When it's kind of sad that that's not the truth. Like let us help you. Let us help you show you the other way.
So you guys have found that efficiency is realistic without that the burnout grind. Is that what I'm hearing,
Yes.
Cerice?
Yeah, absolutely. And, the beauty of it is that it's even more possible today than it ever has been in the past, with the launch of AI, with softwares that, we make them accessible to our clients so that it's not intimidating and it feels intuitive and second nature to start implementing these things because um, women in general hold so many roles, both professionally and in their personal lives. And they have so many plates spinning in the air at all times. And they still want to have ambition and create something of meaning and have impact in the world. And for us, it's about doing so in a way that actually gives you space to breathe and show up in your life and in your business in a way that is fully present rather than in this reactionary state that so many of us operate from.
So, Christiana, when women finally create that space to breathe, or that space there, less stress, more time, what do you notice begins to surface emotionally?
Yeah. So worked with my own coach on this and then actually had deep conversation with Leah and Cerice is that we all crave, if we only, had time. And then, and I'm sure a lot of women can relate to this, you sit there and you say, okay, I'm not needed. My team is doing my work. AI is doing my automations. What am I going to do? What am I going to do next? Right? This anxiety of sitting in the vacuum actually kind of starts to surface an old wound that we women have about, and this is what my coach actually pointed out, about needing to be useful in order to be worthwhile.
Mm. Why do you think that causes some discomfort, maybe to having that extra spare time that you were chasing in the beginning?
I think it shakes your worthiness. Like all these messages that we get from society and from honestly patriarchy to some extent, not everybody, is I'm lazy, I'm slacking, I should be doing something. This sense that rest doesn't feel safe.
Hmm. Interesting. So, Leah, can you kind of maybe each of you, but Leah, you could start, maybe describe what that moment feels like in your body when you try or when you accept that doing nothing is okay or you try to do nothing?
Well, I can tell you what it isn't. It's my husband started working from home this past year, and for a long time it was just me working from home. And I take breaks during the day. Like I take the dog for a walk, I go upstairs and eat lunch, I walk away from my desk because I just know that that's what works for my body, and I need a break, and that's okay. But when he started working from home, I was finding myself like not doing those things or like jumping up off the couch if he came upstairs for his lunch. And I'm like, oh, I feel like can't be seen not doing things during the work day, right? Because I don't want to be perceived as not a hard worker, not, putting in the effort to build our business. And so I've have now let go of that feeling, of like this is truly what I need in order to be able to be my best self for my team and for my business and for my creativity and ability to actually sit and have deep focus time. And realizing that just makes such a big difference of, instead of it being, okay, I'm going to take the dog for a walk because I should. And now I'm on this walk and I'm thinking of, okay, I have this to do, this to do, this to do. Oh gosh, I have to come back to this and that, and all that noise in your head. And instead, I can just be present and enjoy that time, not worrying about all the things that I need to do because I've set myself up. I know when I need to come back. Like I've got it. I've got my processes in place. And so I get to have that freedom of my mind and my body where it's like, okay, I can just be here, be present. And then when I return, I come back clearer, more able to focus, creative, all the important things that you need to have a successful day, basically.
Cerice, what's been your experience with kind of trying to do nothing?
Trying to do nothing, especially when you are a very independent, very proactive type of person, really can be a challenge. For me, it was modeled to, and I think to all of us as women, that, you take care of everybody else first. And then if there is room for you, you take a 5-minute break. And learning how to sit with the discomfort of feeling the urge to get up and do something when honestly the most productive thing that you could be is to take some time to sit quietly, to do something for the sake of enjoyment and not for the sake of productivity. It's a practice. And we were just discussing this yesterday in our team meeting, that there is no final destination in this. It's the ability to notice the discomfort that it can create in you, that you should be doing something because, oh my gosh, what if somebody walks in and catches you reading a book? When you could be cleaning the kitchen or working or hustling in some way. But the end result of that is being able to reconnect with who you are and being able to pour from a cup that isn't empty anymore.
Hmm. Christiana, how about you?
Mhm.
What did it feel like for you when you were, first trying to do nothing?
And still, it's an ongoing practice. Um, so I use a system to discover what's going on called IFS, Internal Family Systems. And this concept says that there are different voices inside of you. Our psyche's made out of different voices. And what I'm trying to do is be a witness to the battle that's going on inside. And so there's maybe a voice that says, you deserve to sit still. You worked really hard. And there's other voice like, no, but the laundry needs to be done and you're going to run out of money and blah, 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 blah. And so it's when you actually step back and you take this witness position, you start to see this weird, crazy making battle that's going on inside your head. And while you can't solve it in that moment, just taking the witness position allows you to see that you're neither this voice, nor that voice, nor that one, and that one. And that is the very first step that I teach people to even where most of us are not even aware how many unwelcome roommates we have inside our heads
Hmm.
that are literally just whipping us into overdrive and overdoing and overgiving. So the first thing is awareness.
So, Leah, you kind of mentioned that you don't want to be perceived as lazy or something like that. What do you think that kind of instinct to look useful or look busy or whatever is protecting?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and this is so funny. We talked a lot about this yesterday in our team meeting about women who are my age in their late 20s, who have had role models in their lives. Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a friend, who knows, but that have had a lot of success. And so to watch them and then expect that for yourself, and you have to work really hard in order to create that. And of course you do, but it's a piece of, if I'm not moving, I'm not going to be successful. If I'm not doing, if I'm not creating, if I'm not whatever it is, that I'm not going to reach that success that was modeled for me from whomever it was. And so, yeah, I think that the I don't want to be deemed as lazy, is that if I'm lazy, then I'm not successful. And if I'm not successful, then I'm a failure. So it's these like chain reactions and pieces that um took a long time to recognize, and I'm very grateful that in my late 20s I'm able to recognize those things, and I have Christiane and Cerice to thank for that, because they've been wonderful mentors to me as we've been together. So yeah, it's like Cerice and Christiana said, it's a process of it's an ongoing process of listening to those voices and recognizing where they're coming from, and then learning when to listen and when to like say, I'm not going to do that today. Like you go away. So, which is not easy at all.
So I'm sure that's an instinct that maybe you all have had to try and just be busy or look busy or whatever. But now you're kind of aware that that's an instinct that you're trying to sometimes fight off, maybe not all the time, but sometimes fight off. Cerice, when did you first kind of realize that you had that you had that dynamic within yourself?
That's a really good question. And honestly, I think it wasn't until I hit my 40s when I've been married to my husband for 17 years now, and I notice that when I get up in the morning, first thing I do, I hit the ground running and I run into the kitchen. We have animals. I take care of all of our animals. I get breakfast going and like just keep going. And then I sit down to work, and my husband leaves for work. He comes home and he takes 30, 45 minutes to unwind. Meanwhile, I get up from my desk. I run outside. I take care of our horses because we have horses. I come back inside. I start going into the kitchen, cleaning up all of my mess from like running in and grabbing lunch for the day, and, start working on dinner and all of that. And at the end of the day, the only time I was sitting down was when we were both unwinding together, and I was chronically exhausted. And I also have autoimmune issues that flare up when I am stressed and overworked. And so I was realizing I was in this constant state of overwork, flare up, my body forced me to rest. And then I could recover and hit the ground running again and repeat that cycle constantly, which is insanity. And I started to notice like I'd take some time and sit down. But if my husband walked in and I was sitting there looking at my phone, reading a book, I would literally jump off the couch like somebody had electrocuted me to look busy, to be doing something, because I felt guilty for sitting down, taking time for myself, which is absurd. But I think a lot of women will identify with that. And the act of, now I have this thing, if my husband comes in when I'm sitting and reading a book, because he doesn't care. He's like, yeah, good, take time, relax. Like, you work hard. And I now notice the impulse and make myself sit through it. And he comes in and he's like, hey, how's it going? What you doing? Reading a book. Cool. Good for you. But it's such an ingrained pattern that I think so many of us have. And I know it was modeled to me by my mother. I was literally just the other day, she told me she was going to take the whole day and sit down and read a book. She's 75 years old. I think it's the first time she's ever said that to me, where she didn't have to go be productive.
When did you realize, or when did you decide it was okay to do that in front of your husband, knowing that he didn't care? Like, maybe you must have thought he cared at some point. At what point between realizing that he didn't care and you decided to not worry about it, how long did that take?
The crazy thing is I always knew he didn't care.
That's what I think
It was never
too.
about
Mm-hmm.
him. It was
Mm-hmm.
about me giving myself the permission, noticing that impulse enough times to go, wait a minute, why am I doing this?
So let's kind of get into this. Usefulness is safety and relaxation is risk and danger. Christiana, What does the word usefulness kind of mean to you, maybe personally and culturally?
Well, first of all, I'm born in Germany,
Hmm.
the country of productivity and efficiency. And yeah, somehow it was, started to recognize it as a conditional worthiness. I'm only worthy of attention, love, money, respect, uh, whatever comfort it is, one can get if I'm useful. And I think a lot, what Cerice was also talking about, we don't always, not all of us have parents that are extremely mature and worked on themselves. And so sometimes early on, we were recognized by our parents, even as a kid, when we did something that was of use to them. Not that they were bad parents or are bad parents, but that's how they could show their love. Probably, like in case my parents were young children during World War II, there wasn't anybody that was just hugging them for the sake of hugging them, right? And so they brought that generationally down to me. And now I have to like think, okay, well, I did something great for my business, so therefore I'm useful, so therefore I deserve to read the 2 pages in my book, which is so ingrained. It's just crazy. And where this all surfaced is that we're actually starting to have a business where I don't have to work this many hours. And I would just pick up a new project because I wanted to be useful. And not only this new project, I immediately thought how I can use the knowledge of this new project in the business, as if that was justifying my time spent in it.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting.
And it's unless you stop and you like resurface this, it'll just run you. And so we can teach women entrepreneurs all we want about more time and automations and getting VAs in Africa and the Philippines or wherever to make your life easier. And they're just going to go and stuff their less full day full with other things because this worthiness piece comes out and there's not a sense of I'm enough the way I am right now.
So how does that, Leah, how does that kind of play into maybe your identity as an entrepreneur and as a woman? How does usefulness kind of shape your identity?
That's a loaded question.
That's
That's
what I'm here for.
um, I mean, I think it has a lot to do, especially with having two partners, right? Like the responsibility falls on the three of us, and that includes me and like the success of our business and the success for our team. Like we love and care about our team and want them to be, financially free and happy and enjoy their work. And so there's just a lot of, I think, pressure that comes along with it of entrepreneurship and like having this usefulness because you want to protect and take care of the people who are in your business that you also love and care for. And if I fail, that means that they fail. And so there's this like sense of um uh what's the word? It's on the tip of my tongue. Dependency, I think. And I'm not a mom yet. I hope to be someday, but I'm assuming that that is going to be this exact same thing, this sense of dependency, right? And my husband depends on me and all these and my friends. And so it's I have to be useful for these people who depend on me, or otherwise I'm failing them. So that is a big piece of it.
Is there a difference, Leah, between usefulness and appearing busy, or are they basically the same thing?
Ooh, they're probably different at different times, I would say, but like there's times that I find myself at my desk and I'm just like clicking on things because I can't focus. I'm just like I have to be at my desk to be at my desk.
Hmm.
Because it's noon. I have to be at my desk just to be at my desk when really I should just walk away because I would be more useful when I come back and sit down after I take that break. So yeah, I think in some ways they're the same, but in some ways they can be different.
Cerice, how does kind of that reflex show up in business then? Maybe like an over delivering or over preparing. Maybe you just never feel done. Like my wife is always, she works down in the basement. She stays down there like 2 hours longer than me because she never feels done.
Mhm.
How does that show up?
Oh, great example.
Yeah. No, I mean that totally is the example, right? Is because women, when we have moments of not actively working on something, say, for example, I'm in the kitchen preparing dinner. I am not quietly in the moment preparing dinner. I am thinking, did I send that person that email? Did I respond appropriately? Are they waiting on me to deliver something else? What else do I have to do? Oh, did I forget to complete that task or set up that task for one of our team members? It's that dependency thing where we're always trying to anticipate needs from a place of wanting to show up and nurture our business, our team, our families, our friends. And it puts us into this place of actually more reactivity than calm, focused proactivity, where we set things up and then walk away from them and let them be.
Hey, I know this is kind of a Cerice, I'm sorry, Christiana, you kind of mentioned earlier, you kind of grow up witnessing, seeing how your parents model certain behaviors, especially when it comes to being busy or being at rest, things like that. How do you kind of see this as a generational story rather than an individual one?
Yeah, it's a really actually I thought it was a generational story because one of the strength of our business is that we represent three generations. We
Mm.
have Leah who, talks to people, women starting to be entrepreneurs. Cerise talks to the women that often sandwich between parents and children, or just having a super busy life in the middle. And then me, like, okay, it's kind of time for me to slow down a little bit, but I can't. So I thought that was maybe me. And because I had parents from World War II and Germany and that, but then when we started talking about it, it was just such a revelation. We all three felt exactly the same way. And and so that's made it so like we need to talk about this. We can teach you all the ways to work less, but unless you don't allow yourself to do so, none of this makes any sense, and it doesn't seem to matter what age we're at. It's
Leah, you,
crazy.
yeah. Leah, you mentioned that you're in your 20s, so your parents may be a lot younger than maybe Christiana's. I don't know for sure, but maybe
For sure.
younger than Christiana's. How did your parents kind of model, rest and productivity and worth and things like that?
Yeah, I always say I'm a carbon copy of my mom, which I love, and I have no qualms with that. But she worked really hard and she built herself a very successful career. And I watched that and I thought I must do the same thing in order to have, like, that is the definition of success. And it's not for me. I started in a 9 to 5 after college and I was like, this sucks. This is not what I want. I don't want to be living my life to work, right? Like that's not I want to be present in my life and I want to be able to have flexibility, and there were so many things that I was like, this just doesn't work for me. And that's when I realized, oh, entrepreneurship is probably actually the way. And that's not to say I think my mom was a wonderful role model. She just took a very different path than I want to take. And when we talk about it, I'll talk to her during the day and she goes, working hard. I'm like, yes, I am working hard. Like, so I just need to take time and space for myself right now. So there's just a difference in that, she worked in the corporate life and space, and so I don't model that lifestyle, and she's very proud of me for it, and there's nothing to say anything negative about it. It's just different, and am grateful that I've again learned these lessons so early in my life that I get to model my life the way that I want to, kind of earlier than most people do. Um, so yes, I that is like the best way I can put
Sure.
that.
Cerise, what about you? How did the generation before you model rest, productivity, and worth?
Yeah, that's a really good one because so all three of us are have had some role in the professional horse world. I think perhaps I had the longest run in it. I am a second generation professional horsewoman. So I am a retired trainer and riding coach. And I grew up in this. So the horse world runs around the clock because horses need care at least 16 hours a day. When something goes wrong, it's 24 hours a day. And so I grew up in this culture with my mom, alongside my mom for so long, of working 7 days a week, 16, 17, 24 hours a day. And everything depended on me showing up. And I'm also married to somebody that works in the horse industry. He was a horse trainer. He now shoes horses professionally. So we're enmeshed in this culture of hard work drives everything. And that's actually where we started our business consulting, was in the horse industry, helping ethical horse industry professionals systematize their businesses, because um, nobody gets into the horse business because they want a successful business. They do it because they have passion and love of horses, and they want to make money doing that, which is something that my mom modeled to me. Also, she told me never to do it. She kept telling me, don't work with horses professionally. And I continued to do so anyway, because it's what I knew. It was what was modeled to me. But at some point, A, my body was like, nope, we're done. And B, I watched these older generations, primarily horse women, because the industry is more women than it is men, burning themselves out, destroying their bodies, destroying their sanity, their mental and emotional well-being, because they didn't take care of themselves from a place of rest, recuperation, and smart strategy, actually building a business that supports you instead of, chasing every single dollar that comes down the pipeline.
Yeah, that's great points. I've heard there's a movie, or no, a TV show, Better Call Saul. This guy was talking about how he owns his business, and Saul was like, or the character was like, sounds to me like that business owns you. So
Exactly.
that's something you got to be on the lookout for. Hey, Christiana, what happens when we, as children, become caretakers?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Definitely a role I found myself in. And it's, we never really learn to be, so there's childish and there's childlike. And when we become really early caretakers, then the childlike part never gets experienced, really. And so, if we want to reclaim that as a woman entrepreneur or as women, because we've worked so hard to systematize the business, we don't know how to play.
Hmm.
We don't have any training in playing. And so then what this inner voice, this responsible voice that says you should work harder, do this, and why you're not doing this, thinks that when we think of play or spontaneity, we think of childish rather than childlike. And so, really, honestly, at my age now, I'm really working on reclaiming what it means to be childlike, curious, creative, open to things arriving my way without forcing the outcome, which is, yeah, it's not that easy.
Hey, Leah, as we kind of wrap things up here, you talked about how your mom calls you and says, "Are you keeping busy?" Kind of like a fallback type question. How can you kind of honor what your parents gave you? Maybe they instilled sort of a work ethic within you, but without kind of continuing those same patterns that can grind you out, burn you out.
Yeah, I think it's having the mentorship and the leadership, and I mentioned this earlier that I've learned so much from Christiane and Cerice, and the guides to be like, this is how you can do it and live peacefully and happily, and so, and listening to that in my head, that like there has to be a different way, like there's got to be a better way than this, and not just ignoring that and saying, well, this is the way that I was told to do it, so I guess I have to, and being curious about what are the other options, and taking some of that risk. I think that's the thing that we didn't talk about today, is that there is risk involved in it. And recognizing that and being able to assess that it's worth the risk or not. But to allow yourself to have that, like this, to be able to say, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it the way I want to. And when my mom listens to this, because I know she will, I love you, Mom. You did all the right things.
Good stuff. Hey, maybe we can dive into that risk factor in a future episode. But I know this is one of the first few episodes of the podcast. Hey, Cerice, tell me, what are you most excited about it?
God, I honestly, it's having the space to connect with other women and other business owners to help women do things differently, to have these deep, engaging conversations that we're not making the time and space to have in our day-to-day lives, and creating this community that nurtures and supports and celebrates while still allowing us to be ambitious, because we are ambitious women, but we want to be smart and soulful about it.
Christiana, who do you think would benefit from hearing some of the conversations that you guys will have in this podcast?
Well, on the pain side of things, it's really the woman that feels like she's carried this for too long, or she's now listening, realizing that there is an unconscious pattern and has been driving her harder than it has to. But actually, on a deeper level, what I'm discovering is it's actually not as much of a risk to step back, because what I'm noticing is this: as I step back and I regenerate my life force, so to say, through rest and relaxation, is that I'm much closer to creativity, to new thoughts. So it would be for women who both want to step off the treadmill that runs too fast and also have this desire to live closer to source, or whatever one wants to call this, and let things spring up from within, which can actually, in today's day, should, I think, especially with AI, etc., be way more lucrative and profitable, honestly. But it's to step back, have that courage to step off the treadmill and say, let the creative thought, the new idea, the innovation come from within. That's the kind of a woman that we would love to work with.
Nice, very nice. So, Leah, last question. It's really possible to build a business without working 80 hours a week?
100%. We, the three of us, are proof of it. We will show you exactly how we do it, because that, it breaks my heart when I have friends who could, or, hear women on LinkedIn talking about, oh, the 90-hour, 80-hour work week. And it's like, oh, please. Like, there's a better way to do it, so without losing the ambition. And I think that's an important
Mm-mm,
thing, that,
mm-mm,
yeah,
for
that this
sure.
isn't about like, I'm going to let my business go under. This is about having a successful business that you love, that works around your life, not the other way around.
Okay, well, we'll certainly look forward to talking about this in future episodes. But it was great to talk to you today. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chad. Thank you so much.
So long, everybody.